Hello friends, welcome to Shiksharthi. In this video, we'll be talking about percentages. So let's start. Okay, so now when we are talking about percentages, we will again divide the topic percentages into three parts as we generally do for every topic, and those three parts are we'll be starting off with basics. Thereafter, we'll be talking about few concepts and then the application of basics with the concepts, and finally we'll be taking it to an application stage wherein the basic concepts will be combined. When I say combination, then we are talking about combination of the topic percentages with others. So in this video, we'll be focusing on the basics and a few concepts. Okay, so beginning of this discussion with, now there is a word single that I have mentioned here. So we are basically starting off this discussion with the word single, and here the word single here means we are talking about a single change. So when I talk about a single change, the word change itself requires at least two things. For example, if I talk about what is the change in the velocity, or if I talk about what is the change in the position of an individual, or if I talk about what is the change in the economy rate. So all these things, something that is common to all these three things that I spoke in the last few minutes, you would see that something is common to all the three, and the common part here is we are talking about the word change. So you would see that when we talk about a change, we require two entities, at least two entities. So when we require at least two entities is when the change begins. But when I'm talking about a single change means I require exactly two things. So a single change, we are talking about a single change requires how many things? It requires two things. And when I say two things, we are basically talking about the same things. For example, if I'm talking about distance, then I'll talk about distance only. And then I'll talk about what is the change in the distance. If I'm talking about displacement, then change in displacement. If I'm talking about percentage points, as we talk about in the business market, then we'll talk about change in percentage points only. Or if I talk about change in value, so then I'll talk about, then this I make it as a generic discussion. This becomes a very generic discussion rather than talking specifically as I was talking about few minutes back. So as we have always been advocating at Shiksharthi, that focus on the generic methods rather than focusing on specific methods, because the generalistic learning is always a holistic one. Okay, so coming down, so when I say change in value, now what is this value? This value is nothing but numeric value. For example, if I talk about change in distance, what will you talk about? You can't talk about qualitative change, you'll talk about quantitative change, right? So here we are talking about change in value. It denotes some quantity, and this quantity could be rupees, could be kilograms, could be anything. This quantity value I am talking about. Okay, so now if I'm talking about the first concept that we are going to discuss here is we are talking about the single change in value. So this word single that I have written here now needs to be associated with all these 4 points that I'm going to discuss thereafter, which is going to take me few minutes. So we are going to talk about the basics, the seed of the topic, right? Okay, so now when I talk about single change in value, what will I say? Single change in value requires exactly two things, and those two things are what? The final value minus the original value. And here we are talking about the numeric change. The numeric single change is what we are talking about, right? Okay. Now, before I go ahead, I'm going to take a case study approach. Now, the moment I say I'm going to take a case study approach, that means there is some point of reference based on which I am going to explain this basic to you. So, there are three things that I have taken here. You would see that there are 3 points that I have written using Roman numbers 1, 2, and 3. These are the 3 things that I have written here. Now, what are the 3 cases that I have written here? In one case, I have taken the final value as 75 rupees and the original value is 50 rupees. You can always make a question out of this. So, as I've always been saying, maths was always interesting or maths was never difficult. It is language which makes it slightly complex or interesting or further interesting. Okay, so I could say that when I started from home today, I had 50 rupees with me, and then thereafter I reached some place after which I was having 75 rupees. So the original value that I was having was 50 rupees and the final value which I was having was rupees 75. Second case that I'm taking here is I started off with 50 rupees and finally when I reached anywhere or somewhere, I'm still having 50 rupees only. That is the second case that I'm taking. And the third case that I'm taking here is originally I had 75 rupees with me, and when I reached some destination point and then I saw that I'm left with only 50 rupees. So you will see in the first case, the final value is greater than the original value which I've written here. Final value divided by the original value is greater than 1. And when I say this is greater than 1, this is how much? I can say this is nothing but 3 by 2 because I'll divide 75 by 50, which is nothing but 3 by 2. Now in this case, final value divided by the original value is 1, and in the last case I can say this is nothing but 2 divided by 3. In short, before you do this topic percentages, you need to be over with fractions, because now I'm going to associate it with fractions. So a topic which comes before percentages is fractions. So you will see that this fraction is what? The numerator is greater than the denominator. So we are basically talking about improper fraction. This is an ideal fraction because both the numerator and the denominator are the same as 1 and 1, and 1 divided by 1 is 1. And the third case that I am discussing here is wherein the numerator is smaller than the denominator, which is essentially a proper fraction. Right? Now, if your fractions concepts are not clear, please go through the videos on fractions before you begin with percentages, because they are connected with each other. Or we will connect it to make it further interesting. Okay, so now when I say the change in value in the first case, can I say in the first case it is final value minus the original value? Can I put it as plus 25 rupees? Yes. In the second case it will be 0 rupees, and in the third case it will be how much? Minus 25 rupees. Now there is a reason why I am writing plus 0 and minus. So I'm just encircling it so that you are able to focus on this. There is a reason behind this, and by the end of the session we'll be talking about what is the role of this plus, 0 and minus, so that we are taking our basics and concepts to a desired level. Now in the second case we are talking about the fractional change. Now when I talk about a fractional change, a fraction basically requires a numerator along with the denominator. Right? So when I'm talking about the fractional change, it is just like saying CV upon OV. So for further discussions, we'll just be using abbreviations. Now CV is not curriculum vitae. We are talking about change in value is CV, and OV is nothing but original value. So in the first case, when I'm talking in the first case, what is the fractional change? So fractional change will be CV, which is rupees 25 plus 25 divided by the original value, which is how much? 50. So can I write it as plus 1 by 2? Of course. In the second case, I'll write it as 0. And in the third case, what is the fractional change? So the fractional change will be minus 25 divided by the original value, and the original value is rupees 75. So can I write it as minus 1 by 3? Of course. I hope this is understood. Now taking this learning to the next level. Now next level is we started off with change in value, then we associated fractional change in value. Now the next thing which needs to be brought here is percentage change in value. So the percentage change in value is nothing but the fractional change into 100%. Now the point here is, why do we take 100%? The point here is, why do we take 100%? Taking 100% means what? No profit, no loss. Which is why we multiply the fractional change with a neutral value, which is not biased. I hope this part is clear. So in the first case, what is the percentage change here? I'll say this is plus 50%. In the second, it will be 0%. And in the third, it will be how much? It will be minus 33 1/3%. I hope this has been fairly understood. Taking it to a final level. So broadly, you would see that you require 3 concepts only in percentages, and before percentages, something that you require is absolute change, then fractional change, and then only we talk about the percentage change, right? So now taking all these 3 points to the next level is point number 4. So you will see basically when we talk about money or monetary affairs or business newspaper if you are reading, or in the economic sector, I mean when we talk about there is a special terminology that is used. I mean I'm talking about only one terminology, though there are other things also which are used. We use something like percentage points. So generally it is seen that the moment the word percentage points is used, people tend to get confused. What is this concept of percentage points? So please try and understand that change in percentage points is nothing but in terms of, please associate 1 along with 4. So you will see change in value. In place of value, I am writing what? Percentage points. So percentage points is nothing but it is a kind of value only. For example, when we talk about value in terms of rupees or kg or kilometer per hour or pascals or whatever, joules. So similarly, percentage points is a value, is a kind of a value which is used in specific markets, and that is we are talking about financial markets. Okay, so you will see that first now discussion 1, 2 and 3 can be combined to talk about change in value. So what I have done here is I have taken a case study approach wherein so before I begin, let me just say what is CPP. This is change in percentage points. What is FPP? Final percentage points. And what is OPP? Original. So F is for final, O is for original, C is for change, and what is PP here? Percentage points. So the formula remains the same as it was. Final value, in terms of value, you are writing percentage points. That is all that you are doing. Okay. So now there are 3 cases that I have taken here, which is, I mean, this case is 50%, original value was 50%, and the final value here becomes 75%. So what I want you to do here is, now this I am giving it to you as a homework. I am giving you all 1, 2 and 3. These are 3 discussions that I had done with you, 1, 2 and 3. So what I want you to do here is discuss 1 here. So these are places 1, 2 and 3, 1, 2, 3. So there are 9 boxes that you need to be, you need to be filling these 9 boxes. And I'll take 1 or 2 examples so that you're able to understand what is being asked to be done. For example, if I have to fill this box, this one, what am I supposed to do? Discussion 1 means what? Change in value. So what is the change in value? Here change in value is nothing but change in percentage points. So we'll do what? FPP minus OPP, which is nothing but I'll put it as plus 25%. Similarly, I'll fill this up. Now this means what? Fractional change. And this is nothing but fractional change in value, to be more precise here. This is nothing but percentage change in value, to be more precise. Correct? So here I want you to do discussion number 2. Now discussion number 2 here is fractional change in value. So when I am talking about fractional change in value in this case, so this becomes what? Fractional change in percentage points, because we are talking about percentage points. So here it becomes what? Fractional change becomes 0. Similarly here, if I have to fill this blank or fill in this box, what will I do? What am I supposed to calculate? I am supposed to calculate the percentage change in value. Now percentage change in value here becomes what? Percentage change in percentage points. Don't get confused with the language. Just understand the essence behind it. You are just supposed to calculate the percentage change in value, and here it is, the value here is percentage points. So what I would advise here is, in these 2 sections, it will be better that you calculate the ratio of FPP versus OPP. Now this is FPP. So in this case, what is the ratio of FPP versus OPP? The ratio here is, in this case if I talk about the third case, So let me earmark the cases. This is the first case, this is the second case, and this is the third case. So in the third case, if I am talking about FPP upon OPP will be nothing but 50% upon 25%. I would again say, do not get confused by the language. If you know the concepts, language is just a medium to understand the question or make it further complex. So this becomes how much? So I can cancel it out with a 25. So this is what? I am getting FPP upon OPP as 2 by 3. And what am I supposed to do? I am supposed to calculate the percentage change. So you will see that the percentage change says what? Percentage change says what? Final value. Now the final value, let's say here is 2x. And here the original value here is 3x now. Okay. So the percentage change in percentage points in this case will be how much? You will say final value, which is 2x minus 3x upon original value 3x into 100%. So when you do this, you get the answer as minus 33 1 by 3%. So please relate. Here also you got the same answer. So this is your assignment which you are supposed to do. And where will you post your answers? In the comment section. I hope it is clear. So where the video is posted, there in the comment section you are supposed to post in your answers at a go. Okay, finally, let us talk about point number 4 dash and point number 5. So now point number 4 dash is nothing but the extension of which point? I am basically talking about point number 3. So rather than calling it as point number 4 dash, I'll call it as, since this is an extension of point number 3, I'll call it as 3 dash. Now what is this? I am using the same formula. Instead of percentage change in value, I am putting it as plus percent, plus R% or minus R%. Because as we have learnt that we will always get 3 cases, either plus, minus or 0. So 0 I am not taking here because if you take it as 0, in that case, final value becomes equal to the original value. So this formula can be articulated. This is nothing but the same formula. So thereafter in my subsequent videos, I'll be using this formula. So please remember, when will I add? When there is a profit, when there is an increase. And when will I subtract? When there is a decrease or there is a loss. Finally, when I'm talking about point number 5, if I'm writing a fraction as n upon d, which is equal to final value divided by the original value, this is what you are supposed to interpret. Now when I say this, I am basically talking about 3 cases. Now these 3 cases are nothing but the cases that we have discussed earlier, 1, 2 and 3. Please relate it with this. So here I am getting an improper fraction. IPF here is an improper fraction. So 3 by 2 means what? The numerator is greater than the denominator plus. Here the second case is ideal fraction. ID is ideal. So here the numerator is equal to the denominator. That means the change is what? 0. And here I am getting the numerator which is lesser than the denominator, which is what? A proper fraction. So when I subtract the denominator from the numerator, I get minus. Now the point here is, why am I always subtracting the denominator from the numerator? Or why is always the denominator taken as a point of reference? Because it is in the base. Base is nothing but the denominator. So whenever you are comparing things, you will always compare things, the final thing with respect to the original thing that would have been done. And the original thing is nothing but the denominator, and the final thing is nothing but the numerator. So what is the interpretation of plus here? IPF is improper fraction. Positive improper fraction means profit. Positive ideal fraction means what? No profit, no loss, no change. And when I'm talking about a positive proper fraction, that basically turns into what? Loss. If you feel that this session was really informative, please do not forget to like, share and subscribe to our channel. And please post your comments in the comment section. And if you have already subscribed to the channel, please don't forget to select all in the bell icon so that you start receiving updates from us regularly. Thank you so much. Until next time we meet, goodbye.